Hello, everyone. Welcome back to NBS MiniPTALK tour. It's a beautiful Thursday morning in Malaysia right now. It's 11 a.m. in Malaysia right now. How are you out there? So today, we're going to talk about industrial design of protection of fashion designs in Malaysia. So before that, let's share this to more people, yeah? Okay. Okay, for those of your friends or colleagues who are interested in joining this talk for today, you can share this QR code to them to actually go into our Facebook page, NBSMY, and join the live stream. It's on Facebook Live right now. And for those who are interested in joining the Zoom webinar below, it's 967-2894-0813. The webinar ID is 967-2894-0813. And you can share this password out for them who are interested to join the Zoom webinar. Audience in the Zoom webinar will have the privilege of asking questions, and priority will be given to them in answering those questions. Please share this webinar now. All right, done sharing? Okay. Today we're going to talk about the industrial design. So what is industrial design? Yeah, industrial design means design of products or apparel or something that has the aesthetic value, because things that we see around us, yeah, most of them have designs which can be actually protected, and these designs are reproducible in the industry, right? So they are called the industrial design. And such designs can be protected because they are an item of that is produced out of the intellectual, thinking and creation. So they are a form of industrial design and intellectual property. Yeah. So, and more specifically today, our speaker will bring to us things that we see every day, things that we cannot escape our eyes. What are those? Fashion, you see, from the clothes we wear, okay, right? The accessories, bags, shoes. These are fashion, jewelries, apparels, handbags that we see every day. So it's a difference between brilliant ideas of those products as well as imitations. We see a lot of imitations around, right? So how do we protect the designs of these products out there? If you are the creator of such designs, how do you protect them? Yeah. So today, our speaker, our very own patent agent at NBS Intellectual, Ms. Ainatul Fakria, will bring to us how to protect your industrial design in terms of your fashion designs in Malaysia, with comparisons with cases internationally. Yeah. So hi, Ms. Ainatul. Let's say hi to the audience.
Hi, Marcus. Hi, Dr. Marcus.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
How are you today?
I'm good, alhamdulillah.
Right, you look nice. So, of course, we're going to talk about fashion, right? So, today, let's bring to us your best of industrial design protection of fashion designs in Malaysia. The floor is yours, Ms. Ainatul. Take it on.
Thank you very much, Dr. Marcus, for that kind introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Ainatul. I'm Fakria binti Mat Arif, and you can call me Ain. I'm patent agent at NBS Intellectual Sdn Bhd, as I've been introduced. And at NBS Intellectual Sdn Bhd, we are intellectual property agents which are registered under the Intellectual Property Corporation of Malaysia, or better known as MyIPO. Okay, so what we do here is that we help business owners, innovators, inventors, designers to protect their intellectual property rights. Some are like trademark, copyright, patents, and industrial designs. Okay, So as you all know, my topic today is industrial design protection of fashion designs in Malaysia. Okay, so first I'm going to share my slide. Okay. Okay, I don't know if you can see me, but I hope you can hear my voice. So I'm going to touch a little bit on fashion designs, and not because I'm an expert of fashion designs, but that's a way of introduction, okay? So designs are always at the heart of fashion. We are always looking for designs as a decisive factor for a purchase. We purchase anything before we go to any shops. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, there's a technical glitch. Oh. Okay. So designs are always the decisive factor of purchase. Like when we go to shops, when we browse for clothes to buy, and when we browse via online shopping websites, via Shopee, designs are always very important. And some designs can match well to our body shape, can make us look good actually if you choose the right designs, right? And Coco Chanel also said that in order to be irreplaceable, one must always be different. Okay, so designs can help you look different and feel different. So in order to, most people who choose a very good design can always look good and can always be irreplaceable and rememberable. Okay. Also, while fashion trends may come and go in the blink of an eye, some never pass. So many items become classical pieces. Some of our clients tell us that sometimes the explanation for not registering fashion designs is that the short product life cycle. Fashion designs are often no more than 6 to 12 months, or sometimes they are seasonal. Okay? And sometimes it does not justify the considerable time and financial costs involved in getting them registered. But many fashion houses do strive to create such classic design pieces. And when they succeed, if they have not obtained the appropriate IP protection in time, imitators will be able to write on their creative work. So as a fashion designer, or even independent designers, or you're just starting out and you don't want others to free write on your creative work, right? So I will show you some of the classic design pieces, as we all know. So there is this Hermes classic Kelly bag. They're having some words that there is 1 year waiting period at the French fashion design Hermes for the classic Kelly bag, which grew to fame in 1956 after Princess Grace Kelly of Monaco appeared carrying the bag on the cover of Life magazine. And these are not cheap. This could cost easily 100,000 ringgit in Malaysia, I think. And there are also the classic Chanel suit, which is designed by Coco Chanel in the 1930s. It is still sold today by Chanel, and it costs $5,000 US per suit. There's also jewelries like this Tiffany & Co. Very nice T-shaped bangle, and it's just very nice and simple and minimalistic. And there's also, of course, I think the most classic designs of all, our dad's Crocs shoes, right? And then, how are we going to protect these designs if you come up with them, if you are the first person? So there are different ways which you can protect your designs. The first one I'm going to talk about is patent. Okay. Even though my talk today would be about industrial design, I just want to touch a bit on patent and other type of protection for fashion design. Okay, so in 2019, 2018, I think, hijab maker Bokita wins a patent infringement suit against an unnamed company at the Kuala Lumpur High Court. This design is actually on a pinless instant hijab. If we know Bokita, we know that the design is ready-made. You wear it comes sometimes with an inner, and then you just wear the hijab. It just like instantly, and it looks like it has been wrapped around manually a couple of times. It looks quite good, I can say, and it solves the technical problem. About patent is that it needs to solving a technical problem, which is like in this case you don't have to wear a pin or wrap it a few times, or you hate to have a certain look, right? And that a patent is as we know, at first, right, granted for an invention, which is a product or a process that provides a new way of doing something and offers a new technical solution to a problem. So it has to be functional. It has to provide a new way of doing something or improvement, right? And then it also has to be new. And novelty here is we're talking about new in Malaysia and new world. They also have to be inventive in such ways that it has to be not obvious to a person's skill in the art. Also, it needs to be industrially applicable. Like it's functioning, you can sell it to the market, there is demand and purchase and everything. But a downside for artistic creations cannot be patented. So sometimes our clients ask us, how do we patent our designs? Okay, so design protection does not protect artistic creations or designs which is just aesthetically different or aesthetically pleasing. It protects a certain function. Like for example, this Bokita hijab, it solves a technical problem, which is the wearer don't need to wear a pin to make it look nice and ready, and you be ready in few seconds, like versus a normal hijab that you have to wear the pin and then you have to wear it a few times, right? Okay, but also patent protection also have been granted to technology used to manufacture crop shoes, wrinkle-free fabrics, UV filtering textiles that are resistant to fire, and water repelling textiles. Sometimes it's just the fabric, what's underlying behind the design, right? The fabric, for example, the technology of the fabric. And patent protection can be extremely costly. Okay, stop sharing for a while. I'm going to show you how the patent document looks like. Okay, this is a patent document. It's pages and pages of words, and at the ends, there are patent sheets, and this is why are more expensive to get, because it involves months, it involves weeks of drafting the patent specification, and then if you read the claims, this is why it's probably expensive, because we need to get it. The words are usually not normal English. Okay, so I'm just going to read the claims here. It says a ready-to-wear headscarf comprising a garment element having sufficient size, sewn in one or many spaced locations to create a form style that covers the head or the head and neck of a wearer, whereby that said form style has a shape similar to that of an ordinary headscarf, manually formed around the head or the head and neck of his wearer. So as you can see, it's almost not, as someone who writes one of these things, they are not really normal to English. Okay, and months and months of going back and forth with the examiner, and then so can be quite expensive. It ranges around 12 to 15,000 ringgit to get one of these patents on your designs. And you also have to fulfill all the requirements that I mentioned just now. Okay, let's start sharing again. So the second form of protection I'm going to talk about now is copyright. Okay, so copyright protects artistic works. Okay, so it has to be original, it has to be expressed, it has to be reduced to material form or recorded. It cannot be just ideas that you have in your head and then you want to protect that idea. Okay, it has to be expressed and it has to be reduced to material form or recorded. And also in the only downside in protecting your designs through copyright is that purely functional designs, for example, clothing, are not copyright protectable. They are not. Copyright protection does not provide protection for utility objects such as clothes. Okay, and then copyright does not will not subsist in any design which is registered under any written law regarding to industrial design. So here I'm going to talk about my next slide, my next protection, industrial design. The type of protection that you can protect in industrial design. I'm going to talk about industrial design. So here I'm giving you an example of a case. So Lululemon is a yoga apparel company. They make apparels for yoga, and then in 2012 announced they are suing Calvin Klein for allegedly copying his Astro yoga pants. So you can see here that the designs here lies here mostly at the waistband. There are crisscrossing of a waistband, and then they are quite unusual. Okay, so the yoga retail alleged that Calvin Klein violated industrial design of the unusual waistband and the design of the pants, and that Calvin Klein took down the pants immediately after, and then they go through confidential settlement. In 2017, Lululemon also sued Under Armour, or was suing Under Armour, because the two companies are fighting for a piece of the fast-growing sports bra market. Okay, so Lululemon has an industrial design on sports bra, which is on the left side, the white one. Okay, so they filed this the USPTO, the US Patent Office, and they and then Under Armour produced a similar type bra, and the design has 4 straps that crisscross at the back. So they look very much similar, and the language sometimes used in designs lawsuit is substantially similar. They are substantially similar, so Lululemon do have a case. So this is why I say that industrial design is a game changer protection for your design ideas, because you know, like for patent does not really provide protection for aesthetic look and feel of clothing or an apparel, and copyright mostly protects textiles or fabric or the patterns on a textile. So, but industrial design actually do provide protection for. So I'm going to talk about, this is where it gets a little bit more high level. Are you ready? Okay. So what is industrial design? So industrial design protects features of shape and configuration, 3D and 2D aspect of design. So this design actually applied to article which is in which the finished article appeal to and are judged by the eye. Okay, so the meaning of appeal to and are judged by the eye, it just simply means that it's aesthetically pleasant or different. Okay, so what are the registrable industrial designs? They need to be new in Malaysia and elsewhere in the world. It needs to fulfill the interpretation of industrial design, which is the above here. It needs to have 3D and 2D aspects, and then it needs to be applied on an article in which the finished article appeal to and are judged by the eye. Okay, and also needs to be not contrary to public order and morality, which is common sense. Okay. So now we talk about non-registrable industrial design. So what cannot be registrable in industrial design is that a method or principle of construction. Also, features of an article which are dependent upon the appearance of another article, which forms an integral part of an article, which means it cannot be like, let's say if it's a door, right? You cannot just claim a small piece of the door. It needs to, because a small piece of the door depends on the appearance of the whole article in order to be, appeals to and judged by the eye. Okay, and features of an article which are dictated solely by the function. Okay, if you are going to, let's say you design a gearbox or you design something that is purely functional, you design an engine or something, but because the design is dictated, the function is dictated solely by the design. Okay, if the design is solely dictated by the function, they are not protectable because the function aspect of a product is protected by patent and not by industrial design. Okay, and it also differs if it's something differs only in immaterial details or features. Immaterial details means that the differences which does not matter. Okay, it's hardly perceivable when the two registered designs are viewed side by side. In order to detect them, one would have to compare the two designs very closely. So the difference would be too little or, okay, so and to determine this, sometimes if you read some of the case laws, they would have the ordinary observer test. So an ordinary observer would have to put these two products or two designs side by side in order to determine whether they are similar or different, substantially similar or different. Okay. So, and the period of registration. So, when you register industrial design, you are given an initial protection period of 5 years from the date of filing, and then it is extendable for 4 consecutive times. And maximum protection period is 25 years. It's quite a long time, okay, for your design, to protect your designs, which is quite good because patent only has 20 years of protection. It again depends on what you have and what you want to claim, right? So I'm going to talk about here some of the examples of famous industrial designs. I have a typo there, I'm sorry, but yeah, I'll put some examples here. First one would be the Tiffany & Co. tea bangle, the one that I showed earlier in this presentation. These are actually protected under the design patents because industrial design is sometimes called design patents in the US. No, they are called industrial design patents in the US. So they do protect this design in the US. And then this is another Tiffany & Co. bangle design. This Valentino. It looks really basic. I swear I've seen this in the market somewhere, but they're actually protected by industrial design in the US. This is also by Valentino. It's also by Valentino. Okay, the most interesting part of this design is that the protection is for the heels. It is called the rock stud heels, and then this protection covers just the heel part of the shoe, and that it doesn't matter whatever upper that you have. Like if you have this upper for the shoe and you have this heel, it's still protected. So we can do this as well. You can protect a specific part of a garment, of an apparel, of a shoes or bag, and then you can you can protect this, only this. And then this is another Lululemon sports bra design. They have I think over 30 industrial design on their sports bra, on their yoga pants, and on their yoga mat. This is their yoga pants, Lululemon's yoga pants. Okay, so what we can say here is that Lululemon is actually leading in the game of designs in the US, because they know how to protect their designs, and especially something that is produced ubiquitously, or is mass produced, or it doesn't go in and out of season. Especially these are quite the features that you need to have for your clothing. It doesn't go in and out of season, and then it's produced ubiquitously. So what is the difference between inspiration versus plagiarism? Plagiarism or copying? Okay, so sometimes we get questions from naughty clients, and they want to know how much can I copy from this design? How many percent? Sometimes 10%, if you change 10% is okay, maybe change 20% is okay. But again, like I told you, when you're trying to copy something, if it's something is protected by industrial design, then you cannot actually copy, it's protected. So it is hard to put a value to it, to put a percentage to it, but it depends. Again, if you read some of case law, it says via audit, and they use ordinary observer test. It has to look for substantially different. It has to be substantially different on side-by-side comparison. Okay, and then there are some ways that you can cleverly copy, but I will give you one example here. Okay. Okay, so this is a Gucci Marmont bag, and as I don't know if you can say this, but it has at the clasp, here is a what do you call it? This part is I think the original design, Gucci's original design, but another handbag company has copied this quite cleverly, which is in the Coach tabby bag. They copied this shape at the closure. Okay, but when compared side by side, they don't look substantially similar. This is a clever way to copy. Okay, this is one example. So we have come to the conclusion. There are 3 ways which can protect your designs, but it all depends on the type of garment or type of apparel that you have. For pattern, it needs to be new, it needs to be inventive or non-obvious, to a person's skill in the art. It needs also to be industrially applicable. It can be extremely costly. It can easily cost you around 12 to 15,000 ringgit to get a patent protection. And artistic creations cannot be patented. Okay, so for copyright, it needs to be original. You are an author and you originally created this design or patents. It needs to be expressed. You need to write it down. You need to write, like put pen to paper, and then reduce it to material forms. Okay, and copyright protection is not expensive. I think it can range around 1 to 2,000 ringgit. And sometimes and it also, if you want to get it registered, but copyright protection is also automatic. You don't actually have to go and register. Okay, and they also do not protect utility objects. They do not protect fully functional objects, okay, such as clothing. For industrial design, it needs your garment or apparel needs to be new, it needs to be industrially applicable, meaning can be sold in the market, and then it needs to be aesthetically different or pleasant in a way that it needs to appeal to and judged by the eye, by the interpretation of industrial design. And it's also one of the cost-effective way to protect your fashion designs. Because I have an example here. I'm going to stop sharing again. I have an example here of how a Malaysian industrial design looks like. This is a front page of bibliographical page, and then you have the this is just a printout. Okay, you have the designs here. This is earrings by one of our clients, and yeah, to get one of these protection, it costs around 2,000 to 3,000 ringgit. So much less cost, much less time. Because for patents, I think it takes around 3 to 4 years to get it granted, and for designs, it's just 1 to 1 year. I mean, 12 months to 18 months for it to be granted or registered. And also, yeah, industrial design can protect designs. Okay. So thanks. That is all. Okay. If there's anything that I can say as a fashion designer, as someone who just started out in the industry, the fashion industry. Okay, imagine this is Makcik Kia's daughter. Her name is something fancy, Sophia Jane. So she wants to enter into the fashion industry and become a fashion designer. So the first thing that she should do is definitely good to have your own trademark, to register your trademark, to register your brands. And then as someone who just started out in the industry, sometimes most of the new designers, they like to show off on social media. They want to get public recognition, so they publish their designs. But it's not something that is going to be favorable for Sophia J, because someone else can copy easily. Yeah. And that's not what you want as someone who just started out in the industry. You don't want big companies like Zara or some fast fashion company to copy your ideas, right? So that's all from me. I hope that was beneficial.
Thank you, Ms. Ainato, for such a great sharing. So we've learned that any articles that have designs which are appeal to the eye can be protected by industrial design. So give it a try. Even bra, the design of bra can be protected, right? As we know, many of the bra designers are actually guys. So guys, please take note. All right. Sorry for just noticing this. But okay, we have a Q&A from the audience, which talks about how about traditional design. I have crafted few contemporary traditional designs. How do we protect contemporary design? And how about cultural appropriation? Some traditional design used by big corporations without recognizing the ethnic that it belongs to. This is a question posted by Lucille from Borneo.
Thank you, Lucille. It's actually a very interesting question. As traditional designs are protected by industrial, it is protected by traditional knowledge. Right, Marcus?
Yeah, actually, this is a good question and yet hard question. Because I think because most people and lawmakers throughout the world, they are very puzzled about this, the use of traditional knowledge, not just in design, but also patent, copyright, trademark. So they are really puzzled whether to actually create an own sui generis law to actually protect traditional designs and knowledge, or to actually adopt these laws into the existing patent, design, trademark, copyright laws to protect this. And there is also a really subjective questions as to how similar these designs are compared to those traditional designs, and can the traditional designs protection be accorded to the community, the ethnic community? These are still questions to be answered. And in some jurisdictions, they actually have a novelty test. So it is also a matter of comparing whether the contemporary designs, how different they are and how new they are and how much modified they are compared to the traditional design. Yeah. So this is a really good question. What do you think, Ms. Ainato?
Yeah, I think in some countries, sometimes these ethnics have their own community, which are, it's a whole body, it's an organization. Sometimes this organization takes up the responsibility to go to the court and actually defend their rights. And it's not really ethical that they do this, but if they change it substantially, it is not substantially similar, it can be allowable, I think, in some cases.
Yeah, we've seen some cases where the local governments or community, they actually took action against certain patent holders for using traditional knowledge. For example, in medicine, right? To actually invalidate their patent, because this has been a really long used method in the community or the local setting. All right, okay, we have a second question from an anonymous attendee. For IP law in Malaysia, making watermark at my product online posting, is it good enough to protect me in the future?
I think it is good enough. It can be, okay, some people can take, like if it's a repetitive designs, some people can still copy your designs because they can still take a portion of your designs and then replicate it, because it's just something that is replicative, like a tile. Okay, they can redraw your designs. I can say that they can still copy you. Yeah, how do you think, Marcus?
Yeah, I think it depends on what kind of protection you are looking at. In terms of this watermark, it's more appropriate to look from the copyright perspective. So that would be to look at the design of the product from an artistic point of view, as an artistic work. Yeah. So because copyright, you can just put your watermark, and preferably with the date of your design creation, to say that, oh yes, this design is my copyright. But if you want the 3D production of the article to be protected, it is best to get an industrial design. If it fulfills the industrial design criteria, then it will be best to get the 3D product, the design of it, to be protected by industrial design. And yet, to be protected by industrial design, registration would be required compared to copyright. Yep. And that's what I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think also for 2D protection of industrial design, sometimes they can also file copyright, and it can also protect it under copyright and industrial design. But the standard of infringement and standard of damages are different for both. Sometimes in copyright infringement, they have to prove that they have access to your work. So if you produce you put your product online, sometimes they can say that, oh, I don't have access to his or her work, right? Something like that. And then for the damages, industrial design damages is a bit more. It's a bit. I'm not sure if it's a bit more. It's a lot more than copyright protection, but there's substantial difference in damages. They claim more in industrial design.
All right, thank you, Ms. All right, thank you, Ms. Ainato. Any other questions from the floor? Let us check the Facebook comment. Okay, no questions from Facebook. Any more questions from Zoom participants? Okay, no. Okay, well, thank you very much to our audience for joining our Zoom talk this morning, and also thank you to our distinguished speaker, Ms. Ainato. Yeah, all the best to you guys. So let's keep an eye on the NBS page here. We have a talk coming up in the new year in January. It will be on copyright, yeah. So please keep an eye on our Facebook posting and check it out. Our poster will be out soon. Check it out on our Facebook NBSMY. All right. If you have any inquiry that you have, any thoughts from this talk or our previous talk, you can send a message to us on NBSMY Facebook, or go to our official website nbs.com.my and click on the contact us and drop us a message, right? So thank you very much. This is the end of our webinar for today. Thank you and have a nice weekend ahead. Bye-bye.